Wanders are finally getting the love they deserve, with new abilities, supports, and a host of new changes to wand nodes, itemization, and more in the upcoming Delirium patch. In this video, we're going to talk about all of these changes as well as what it means for build diversity going forward into the new league. Remember, if you want to stay up to date on Delirium info, the best way to do that is to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It helps support the channel and myself and lets more people see the content that I make. In the coming weeks up to the Delirium patch, I'm going to be releasing 2 separate starter guide videos. The first one is going to be more consistent builds, and the second one is going to be focused on the new abilities. And in the next few days, I'm going to be streaming live on Twitch at twitch.tv/bigducks. You'll be able to see me doing test playthroughs of all of the new starter builds that I'm going to be releasing in a video later this week. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to come and check me out, and don't forget to follow me on Twitch to see when I'm live for those streams. Now we've finally gotten the info about the new wand abilities, and there's a lot more than what we initially thought we were going to get. Here I was thinking that all we were going to get is Kinetic Bolt and just a simple wand ability, but it turns out that we are getting oh so much more. So not only is Kinetic Bolt going to be a new wand ability that we've confirmed is going to be starting at level 1, meaning that you're going to be able to level with this ability. So that means all you people out there that were hoping that this was going to be a potential league starter, things are looking up. So remember, as I said earlier, sometime closer to when the patch notes release, I'll be releasing the second starter build video that's focused on the new abilities. So if you're interested in Spellslinger or the Kinetic Bolt ability, make sure to take a look at that video if it's already out. So Kinetic Bolt is going to be scaling with 150% of any spell damage that your build has. This is similar to how Crown of Eyes worked in the past. We've also learned a little bit more information about how this ability is going to work with Fork as well as extra projectiles. Now I said in my previous video that it seemed like the ability forked at every single jump. However, we've learned that that's not true. The ability has a specific amount of times that it will bounce and fork, and it said at level 1 the ability starts at 5. And GGG has confirmed that additional fork that you get through your build or items or the skill tree is going to cause those abilities to fork more times. As well as additional projectiles is going to affect the ability in a unique way. Not only is it going to cause the ability to have more projectiles initially, every time it bounces and forks, each of those additional bounces will have additional projectiles. We've also learned a little bit about the interactions with Barrage. They have said that every single cast of the Barrage will have all of the forked projectiles. So that means that Barrage is probably going to be a pretty good support for this skill for single target and for clear. Now beyond Kinetic Bolt itself, we've also gotten some information that there are going to be a couple crazy changes to Wanders just in general before we get to the Spellslinger ability, which is nuts by the way. If you're familiar with the old Wand Slinger node, that has actually taken the place of Crown of Eyes. Crown of Eyes used to give us increases and reductions to spell damage, also affect attacks. However, that is built into the Wand Slinger node now. And on top of that, Crown of Eyes is also getting some extra treatment. We don't know exactly what it's going to be doing, but sources say that it's most likely just going to be an improved version of that, similar to how Kinetic Bolt is scaling right now. It's still going to give you the same exact thing as before, it's just going to give it at a better ratio. So you heard it here first, boys. Crown of Eyes is going back to a T0 unique. So now moving on to what you're really here for, Spellslinger. This is going to be new blood in the wand arena, and it could potentially completely change the way that we play wand builds going forward. Now if you're wondering what Spellslinger is, we've finally gotten some new information. The way that Spellslinger works is that this is a support of spells. And the way that that works is that each spell that's connected to Spellslinger can be reserved for 15% of your maximum mana. Now what this reservation does is it makes it so that every time that you attack with a wand, you're going to be casting each of those abilities. Now if you remember what Poet's Pen is, this is basically exactly that, but in support gem form. Now this isn't 100% confirmed to work that way, but the wordage that GGG is using really makes it seem like that's how it's going to be. So the idea here is that you'll be able to have a full 6 link in your chess piece that's just maybe 2 to 3 spells, the Spellslinger support, and then other additional supports, and you'll be able to have whatever your wand attack is in your weapon, in your helmet, wherever else, and you can use that attack, and all of those spells should still go off. Now keep in mind that the support gems that you link to the actual spells themselves will increase the amount of mana that is reserved, so you can't go crazy with it. Now why is this important? Because this lets build diversity just completely flourish. Think about all the different things that you can do here. So the first one that came to mind when I originally saw this ability was the Necromancer. You're going to be able to use Desecrate, Body Swap, and Volatile Dead, all linked to this support, and you're just going to be able to, as we did previously with Poet's Pen, just cast them constantly over and over and over and just fly through the map while doing insane amounts of damage. And you're going to be able to 6-link them now. It's ridiculous. And while I think that that's probably going to be the most powerful incarnation of it, it's not the only thing that's going to be here. The other class that I thought of when I initially saw this ability was Inquisitor. Any kind of elemental ability that you can think of, most likely projectiles are going to be best here. It doesn't matter if it's lightning, it doesn't matter if it's cold or fire, they're all going to be great, and you're going to be able to have multiple instances of this. So think about if you had, like, say, Ball Lightning on one of the Spellslinger links. You could also have a separate 4-link that has, say, Wave of Conviction and Lightning Warp, so that while you're attacking, you could be moving and putting on the Wave of Conviction exposure debuff that it gives. The possibilities are just kind of endless. And the last one that I thought about is actually something that me and the boys over on Discord, which you should join, by the way, if you want the latest up-to-date info as soon as it comes out, we were talking about how we could probably do a Pathfinder that does poison through both spells and attacks. You're going to be able to scale the wand attacks with spell damage. If you both are able to stack poison through attacks and spell damage, that's double the amount of poison that you're going to be able to get. So say you would take like Bladefall and you would have maybe Barrage as your main attack, you'd be able to scale both the attack of Barrage through the Wandslinger node as well as the Bladefall itself. Both of those would be able to do more damage, and you'd be able to poison with both of them as well. So you would be able to double or triple or quadruple, however many times that it is, you'd be able to double dip all of that damage. You'd be able to do it through crit, you'd be able to do it through spell damage, through attack damage, and through poison. Now, the reason that all of this is actually so insane, I haven't even mentioned yet. The other thing that the Spellslinger support gem does is that it adds all of the base damage on your wand to the abilities that it's linked to. Now, what do I mean by base damage? I mean, if you look at a wand, say an item that I'll put on the screen here, you're gonna see that it has the option to have added lightning damage, added fire damage, cold damage, physical damage, as well as chaos damage. All of those get added to your abilities, as well as any modifiers that are on the wand that affect those. So say if you have a wand that has increased physical damage and added physical damage, both of those are going to go straight into the abilities. Now, this is honestly just kind of insane. The boys and I were working with this ability for quite some time on the Poison Pathfinder because one of the members of the Discord really wanted to play the Poison Pathfinder version of this ability. And honestly, it kind of seems too good to be true, and I'm a little worried about that. Because if this works the way that we're thinking, it's going to be like Poet's Pen on steroids. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. And we're going to have, like, builds that can shoot 100 spells every time that you attack. I'm sure that it's going to be figured out how to just have the most ridiculous screen-wide GPU melting AoE that we've ever seen. And I'm super excited to play this. I'm probably not going to play it as my personal league starter. I'm going to do something a little bit safer just so that things will be okay and I can make enough money to buy this build that's probably going to be ridiculously expensive, by the way. So I might not recommend actually doing the Spellslinger wand ability first. You may want to save that until second, maybe third. But this is super exciting. GGG said that they just told their devs to just make spells and abilities that seemed really, really cool. And if this is what they're talking about, I'd like to see more of it in the future, because this is some of the most interesting stuff that we've gotten in quite some time. So beyond all of that, we have 2 more abilities that we haven't heard about, and we have the cluster jewels that we've gotten a little bit more information about. The video that I make about that probably sometime next week. Just be ready for cluster jewels to really change the way the Path of Exile works. After we've gotten leaked some of these more impressive cluster jewels, like the rare ones, those small passive nodes are going to be no joke. They can have like up to 3 portions to each small passive node. When you top out with some of the just completely high roll ones, you might as well just make your entire build just through those passive jewels. So look out for a video about that, as well as the 2 other abilities we haven't really heard very much about, probably sometime next week. And that's gonna be it for me. Remember, like this video and make sure that you subscribe so that you can see when those new updates come out. But besides that, take care and we'll see you next time.